Pine Class Parent Meeting. During this meeting, I will explain everything you need to know about Year 2. If you have any questions, feel free to note them down or ask me on the gate or email the office. Meet Pine Class team. So there's me, Miss Andrews, I'm the class teacher. We've got Mrs. Andrews, who is our TA for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday morning. She will also carry out some interventions with the children as well throughout the week. And then we have Mrs. Williams, who is covering me on a Wednesday afternoon. Pine Class routines. This is an example of a day in Pine Class at the minute. We are starting to introduce Snappy Spag, which is spelling, punctuation and grammar, and maths, as well as opportunities for the children to cooperate, team build and build those relationships back up after such a long time out of school. We're also focusing on the time to talk circle time, which gives the children the option to discuss any issues or for me to use the opportunities to develop any listening and problem solving skills. On a Monday, reading books will be handed out. Most children have 2 books. And then on a Friday, reading books will be collected in to enable them to be quarantined over the weekend. Spelling tests will also start being introduced in term 2, and spelling homework will be handed out on the Friday for the following week. Eventually, this will be uploaded to Google Classroom, so keep your logins. Expectations. As we are a caring community, this is something that has been highlighted through this pandemic. As a school, we want the children to be part of this. Therefore, we encourage good behaviour and have high expectations of all of the children all of the time during the school day. We want to promote good relationships so that we can all work together with the common purpose of helping everyone learn. The behaviour chart is still in place, and the things children can do to ensure that they move up the chart is working hard, looking after the property that in the classroom and around the school, listening to people, being gentle, being kind and helpful, being honest, talking quietly indoors and walking indoors. If your child ends up on green at the end of the day, this is also still very, very good. It shows that they've been well behaved. If they are on silver, it's shown that they've kind of shown a little bit more of a higher expectation of behaviour. And then gold is showing good behaviour all of the day and shining out through the whole day. If you actually get your child managing to get to diamond by the end of the day, a text will be sent home. This is for exceptional behaviour and is very, very rare. This ties in with our values and golden threads. We encourage our children to have the values of ambition, mindfulness, honesty, resilience, compassion, thankfulness, respect and curiosity. Our golden threads are community, mental health, life skills, global issues and technology. These are woven through our learning every day and what our school and you guys feel are important for the children to learn. During Pine Class, the topics that your children will be learning are, in Term 1, we are currently learning about COVID, a pause in time. This is part of our recovery curriculum and leads into Florence Nightingale, which is a significant nurse. Term 2, where in the world would you go? This is all around the world and continents and oceans, and we will be focusing on Up, the movie. Term 3, what happened during the Great Fire of London? Term 4, what's at the bottom of your garden? This will link with science and hopefully we can get to grow some vegetables and look into mini beasts. In Term 5, what was life like in a castle? Fingers crossed we get to visit Warwick Castle in the future, however we do not know about this. And in Term 6 as well, do you like to be beside the seaside? We try to go to Weston at the end of the year as a bit of a treat for the children, but again it depends on circumstances. Learning philosophy and ethos of Pine Class. In Pine Class, we encourage children to be as independent as possible and learn from each other when possible. We will learn using hands-on resources such as Numicon, Deans, and use as much drama in English as we possibly can. Compared to Year 1, Year 2 is a little bit more structured throughout the morning and in the afternoon sessions, but this will be a gradual process. Ellie characters. This is the Ellie characters here. So we've got the owl, the chameleon, the spider, the bee, the tortoise, the cat and the unicorn. Ellie characters help children to differentiate which learning style they are using and to help them learn. If a child really shows that they are using a specific learning style, we ensure they are celebrated in assemblies. At the moment, assemblies aren't running as normal. However, Year 1 and Year 2 are having our Only Tool celebration assembly at the end of the week on a Friday. So some of the children will come home with a certificate to show how well they've been learning at the moment. This encourages children to challenge themselves in different ways, and it makes them identify the way they are learning. Curriculum maps and knowledge organisers. On the website, we will be uploading curriculum maps to show you what the children will be learning each term, and also knowledge organisers are uploaded as well and are used in class to help the children remember specific vocabulary for the topic. It's also quite useful for you to see what kind of things they will be needing to learn as well, to challenge them at home, and if you want to do any research outside of school, it would be wonderful if you could do something like that. The recovery curriculum. This is what we came up with as a school to support the children coming back to school in September. You were emailed this at the end of the term in term 6. As a school, we feel it is unfair for the children to jump straight back into core learning until we have embedded important things such as rules and routines and rebuilding those relationships. As we know, until this is rebuilt, the children will not be able to shine and be at their full potential. We are now starting to introduce maths and English at a smaller scale, revisiting Year 1 curriculum before entering Year 2 to fill any gaps that they have at the moment. Phonics screening. So this usually happens in Year 1. You probably would have heard about this from Miss Kelly quite a lot last year. It usually happens in June, and each child is just taken out the class individually, and they are just assessed to see how well they have remembered their phonics and if they can sound out the words. Because the children have not done that as usual, they are now having to do this in term 2 in Year 2. This will again just be very informal and completed with me. The children are very used to being taken out of the class just to have their phonics assessed anyway, so they probably will know nothing about it. It's just to see if they have remembered the phonics, and it just kind of sets them up for the future. So SATs, no need to worry about this at the moment. This does not take place until May. Again, this is very informal. The children probably will not realise that they are doing anything to do with SATs. SATs will not be in the vocabulary, SATs will not be spoken about with children. They will be taken out into small groups and tested in their maths and English. So English includes reading, spelling, punctuation and grammar, which is short SPAG. In Redford Edge, we keep testing procedure very informal, like I just said. The papers are not timed, and they're usually taken in sometimes in the class, sometimes out of the class, depending on the child, depends when they're comfortable, and the pressure is completely off of the children. This will be something we practice throughout the year anyway, but yeah, nothing to worry about at the moment. I will probably have a meeting with you further on down the line just to talk you through the process and everything once it's all planned in. So the expectations in Year 2, we assess against these objectives for reading. Slightly different in Year 2, we have to gather enough evidence of what the children can do as well as SATs and teacher observations. This is the same in writing. So here's the writing expectations for a child who's working at the expected standard, and the same for maths. So this is the expected standard that a child would be able to complete in maths. And there's quite a few there, I'm not going to read them out to you, so feel free to read through these. Don't panic though at the moment, as this is a whole year away. So again, the reason we've backtracked and started in Year 1 curriculum is to just check and make sure that there's no gaps in any of the children's learning before moving on to Year 2 expectations. Something we are focusing on in Redfield Edge at the moment for the whole of term 1 is mental health. This will be through Golden Threads. We are practicing mindfulness quite often in the classroom and lessons around metacognition. We have introduced zones of regulations, which is there to support the children to understand their own emotions. So the children have their name, and there's a blue zone, a green zone, a yellow zone, and a red zone. And we are supporting the children in identifying how they are feeling and how to overcome that feeling if they are in the blue zone, for example, if they're feeling sad or feeling unwell. It's giving them strategies to ensure that they are unable to put themselves into green zone again, feeling calm and happy and okay again. This is something that we're learning through the term. So if a child comes home saying, oh, I was on yellow today or red for the zones of regulation, don't worry, it is not a behaviour thing whatsoever, it is their choice, and it's something that the children have actually really enjoyed doing. COVID safe. So the school has implemented some new procedures into school, as you know, staggered drop-offs and pick-ups. So year 2 are pod B. Their drop-off time is at 9:05, which I'm sure you know, and pick-up is now at 3:20. So they go home a little bit earlier. At the moment, we are going picking up at the middle gate on the field, which seems to be working a lot better than before. Hand sanitizer is given on the gates as the children come in and when the children leave at the end of the day, and it is also used within the classrooms as well. Children are encouraged to wash their hands with soap, though, as much as possible, especially just before they're eating. One-way systems are in place around the school, which the children are working really well with. It's a little bit like a road. No whole school assemblies, unfortunately, or gatherings. However, like I said earlier, Key Stage 1, or Year 1 and Year 2, are having smaller assemblies to focus on really light singing and to celebrate their achievements on a Friday. Again, I'm just going to mention children must stay at home and have a test if they develop any symptoms of COVID-19. This includes a new and persistent cough, a high temperature, which is above 38 degrees, and a loss of sense of smell or taste. Playtime is slightly different as well. So we are Pod B, Year 1 and Year 2. Playtime is just us at the moment, and Holly class will be introduced as and when they feel comfortable to do that. Children are allowed to mix in their pods, which gives the children the opportunity to play with other children as well. Playtime is staggered, so we've got Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. Pod B playtime is at 10:40 until 11 o'clock. Lunchtime, Pod B, Year 1 and Year 2. We eat in our classrooms at the moment. Their lunch starts at 12:15 and they have half an hour to eat their lunch within the classroom and to be cleaned down and organised, and then they will have half an hour outside on the playground or on the field, depending on the weather. That is between 1:45 and 1:15. During lunch times and snack times, or any kind of times when they are eating, the children, the tables are always wiped down at the beginning and end of every time the children eat, and their hands are washed at these times as well. PE. PE days are not officially set up yet, but the children are all doing exercises as part of the recovery curriculum, so every child needs to have a named PE kit in school, especially trainers. In Year 2, we are doing the mile a few times a week where possible. We're also doing yoga and some light team building games as well. Just to remind you, the PE kit that we need to have in school every day is your house colour top and black shorts, white pair of trainers or DAPs, and socks. Children may wear a jumper and trousers when it is cold and rainy, but they must also be black as well. Reading in school. So the children have just been introduced to something called Reading Vipers. It's it's kind of something that the children can identify the skills that they are using when they are reading. So we've got V for vocabulary, I infer, P predict, E explain, R retrieve, and S is sequence in Key Stage 1. We will eventually move to whole class guided reading daily with a range of different genres. So we'll be looking at non-fiction, fiction and poetry. Children will be focusing on different skills during the week to build fluency. At the moment in Year 2, we are just building the fluency and really understanding how we sound out and blend the words together in order for them to move on and comprehend what they are reading. The children are doing really, really well with that, and we aim to read with each child once a week individually as well. Reading at home. So reading at home is so important this year especially. They should be reading at least 5 times a week with you. So if we write in the reading record book, that does not count as one of those 5 times. Hopefully you record this in your reading record book. Your child will bring home 2 books a week on the Monday. One is Letters and Sounds, which focuses on the phonics that they are at the moment, and one is Reading for Pleasure, which is a book that you can read to them, they can read to you. It's something that they just enjoy to read. It's not necessarily focusing on their sounding blending, it's more focusing on actually reading the book and understanding it and how much they enjoy reading. These books will be changed weekly, again on a Monday, so they'll be collected in on the Friday and then given out again on the Monday, as the books need to be quarantined over the weekend. They are also allowed to read books from home, and this can be recorded in their reading record book as well. It doesn't have to be a book from school, but it is helpful if you do at least read the book once through the week from school. Maths at home. So the children again are expected to complete 5 maths activities through the week at home. Things like Maths Frame, Numbots, I know the children are really good at using that, and we have just introduced them to TT Rockstars, Timetable Rockstars. Although they haven't really learned their times table yet in school, a lot of them are keen to get into times table Rockstars, especially if they've got older siblings. This can just be written in their reading record book that they have completed, whichever activity that they have, and it just helps us to see what activities are being completed through the week. And please follow us on Twitter. So this is our Twitter account, pineclass_RE. Join us to find out all the fun things that we have been getting up to in Pine Class. I upload photographs as much as possible about what the children have been up to. And thank you for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to email the school office and I will get back to you. Or you can just catch me on the gate at the end of the day. I'm more than happy to hang around and answer anything. It's quite a lot of information that you've just had to take in there. So any help, then I will try my best.